Welcome to Healing Families with Pastor Zandi Thwala. It's truly a privilege and an honor to have this opportunity to speak into the lives of marriages and families because I believe that they form the foundation of society. Families are the cornerstone of every community, and when the families are under attack, when marriages are under attack, then our societies and communities are bear the brunt of all of that. So it's very important for marriages to be healthy and whole so that our communities are in turn whole. I'm speaking about issues like the issue of single parenting that has resulted in children who really lack identity and have such issues of brokenness that make for them finding themselves involved in criminal activity and all sorts of disruptive societal behavior. So when we begin to heal marriages, in a nutshell, I want us to understand that we are healing the entire community. Today, we are going to speak on the subject of infidelity. Hopefully for a couple more shows, we're going to be talking about marital unfaithfulness. You might be asking yourself, why would we want to start there? But it's actually very important that we start there because statistically speaking, one of the biggest issues that the marriage or marital community is dealing with right now is infidelity. It is so rampant, it is so rife, even in the church community. I know that especially Christians like to feel like they are exempt and that this is not their experience. But in reality, as a marriage counselor for at least 17 years now, and someone who has been married for 27 years, I can tell you right now that it's not true that the Christian community is exempt from the scourge of infidelity. Actually, we are positioned where we are dealing with that each and every day. For the purpose of our discussions here, I will be borrowing from stories of people that I've spoken to, counseled, with their permission, of course. I'll be sharing real stories with you, and hopefully we learn something instead of just maybe enjoy, a juicy story. We learn something and we're empowered to do better in our own lives. Infidelity. I want to start off by defining that. Infidelity is not when a married person has sexual relations with someone they are not married to. A lot of times we've narrowed it down or we have made it so basic that it's as long as I haven't had sex with anyone, I have not been unfaithful. Unfortunately, this is very untrue. When you give what rightfully should be given to your spouse, to someone else, then you have become unfaithful, you have become adulterous. That could speak of your finances. If your finances are funding other projects elsewhere with someone else because you have, whether it's a soul tie or whatever connection, whatever reason you might give yourself, that can represent or can be indicative of marital unfaithfulness. Sometimes it's just at its root at that stage. It will manifest and grow into something bigger, but it is unfaithfulness. When you are affectionate with someone else, when they become your go-to person, I need to hear from him. What is it? What does he think about this? And instead of making decisions with your spouse, you are constantly consulting with this other person that you admire. Your admiration should really be reserved for the person that you are married to. Not to say we don't admire other people, but in the context of decision making and who we want to actually partner with when we do things, that should be reserved for your spouse. When there's someone else who steals that place, then that person has become someone you are involved in an emotional affair with. I like to make the example of how you find married people who are more excited to receive phone calls from certain people. They're really excited. The phone rings and they think it's that person, it's that guy. There's an excitement. And as soon as they see my husband or my love or whatever, it's like, oh, this sucks. If you are someone who feels like that, there's someone else, a female if you're a man, a male if you're a lady, and this person is someone you're not married to, but you're more excited to chat with them, you're more eager to update them on your day and things that are happening in your life, I want you to know that you're already engaged in an emotional affair. So it's really important for us to broaden our understanding of what infidelity is. Otherwise, we'll never be able to curb the scourge. It's important for you to actually understand that it doesn't start with sexual intimacy. It begins long before then. So I'm going to talk today about the causes of marital unfaithfulness. The first cause of marital unfaithfulness that I want to talk about is the failure to erect boundaries. When you are married, you've already become one with someone else. So I want to make an example of you being in a room, an enclosed room with this person who is your spouse. You need to be able to erect boundaries and protect that relationship. Marriage is only successful, it only grows and thrives when it's in first place. The minute it becomes second to anything, it becomes a problem for the marriage. In talking about the causes of infidelity, I want to start by mentioning the first cause, which is a failure to erect boundaries. Once you are married, you need to be able to fortify your relationship with your spouse by erecting boundaries. What does that mean? It means that certain things that you were able to do and it was okay for you to do before should not be things that you still do. Sometimes it's things as simple as paying compliments. You are fortifying your relationship when you choose to not be the type of man who goes around paying compliments. Why? Because women thrive and live on affection and attention. So if you begin to pay attention to another woman and you begin to tell her how beautiful she is and how smart she is, and you are raving and ranting about that woman, you are sowing seeds into her life. She may be able to resist for a while, but after a while, there are feelings sometimes that you unintentionally find that you have to then deal with because you've caused that person to begin to have certain feelings for you. So in erecting boundaries, you literally have an agreement even about things like having friends of the opposite sex. I know that when I got married, I had a lot of friends. I've always found it very easy to make friends. I mean, I'm at an airport for if I have a long layover and I meet someone, I promise you, if you leave me there long enough, we've exchanged phone numbers, we're good buddies, we've had such a great time chatting and stuff like that. But as a married woman, I've had to learn how to limit that and not just open myself up to everything, because just opening myself up again and making friends like that can become something that is dangerous, because then I'm forging this relationship and it's growing and it's outside of my marriage, you know? So in erecting a boundary, one of our boundaries that I have with my husband of 27 years is that we will not have friends of the opposite sex who are not friends to both of us. If you're a guy and you're in my life and you're my friend, you have to find how to be my husband's friend. Otherwise, you get evicted from our kingdom. It's just as simple as that. It's unfortunate that some of these things we learned later on in our marriage. Starting out in our marriage, I did not want to erect boundaries. I wanted to befriend everyone that I wanted to befriend because I wasn't aware of the truths that I am now sharing with you. But it's important to erect boundaries. Don't take huge gifts from someone you're not married to. There must be a limit to what is an acceptable gift, because even a gift can worm its way into your heart. If someone has now paid this huge bill, a lot of times women then can start feeling like they owe this person. I don't know why, but women, the way we relate with men, the way we reward love, attention, affection, can sometimes be very twisted in that you feel like, now I owe him, he did this for me, and all of a sudden the lines are blurry, the boundaries have come down because you received a gift that you really should have turned down. If you're a responsible person, as a married person, you should have been able to say, no, I'm sorry, that's a large gift, I'm not comfortable taking that from you, and you should have refused to take that gift. So erecting boundaries looks like that. We're not throwing around compliments, We're not offering to do huge favors for people that we're not married to. We are not having friends of the opposite sex that your spouse doesn't even know about, that you're interacting with secretly. It's a very dangerous place to be. I think a side note that I'd like to make is that a lot of times the people who find themselves in affairs are the ones who thought that they were immune, who believed that they were not prone. There's an example that I read about, I'm not sure from where, but this guy was basically saying that when winter comes, it's advisable for everyone to take a shot, a vaccine, to say it is winter. So I acknowledge that because it's winter, the flu bug will be going around and I might contract it. So I'm trying to prevent myself from contracting the flu virus. And it's very important to be of that mindset when it comes to adulterous relationships, because the minute you think that you are immune, you are not prone, then it becomes a problem, because you are the one who's most likely. The number one candidate, even in my experience as a counselor, the people who are constantly, finding themselves in very bad positions are the people who think that they are incapable of getting themselves there. Why? Because they let their guard down. And as soon as you let your guard down, I promise you, you'll do things and you'll only realize after you've crossed the line that you've crossed the line. So it's important to just erect boundaries, be conscious, be mindful of the fact that this is something that is out there and that all of us are capable of it. Something else that is a problem is a lot of times I hear people say, my husband is not like that. My husband is not a cheat. He would never cheat. I want to call you a name for thinking like that, but it wouldn't be proper. But it's foolish. That's a better version of what I wanted to say. If you're saying, my wife would never, ever be unfaithful, that's a very, very foolish and irresponsible position to be at. You need to fortify each other by erecting boundaries, have rules, watch each other, be your brother's keeper, take care of each other, be responsible, in how you relate with one another to keep each other from getting into a situation like that. So that was the first cause, erecting boundaries. The second cause is pride. The Bible records that pride comes before a fall. Pride just says, I'm not that type. I'm not a loose woman. So I'm going to make this drive. This guy's already going to Joburg. We're going to, we'll book into the same hotel. I don't know, you're just casual about how you do things because you think you're incapable of getting things wrong. You are a human being, and what that means is you are prone, you are susceptible, and so you need to make a conscious decision not to put yourself. Don't be proud. You must listen. The Bible speaks about wisdom being found in a multitude of counsel. We have been married for 27 years, and if we're telling you that it's not safe to be hanging out with people that you are not married to and saying, no, he's just a friend. He's just a friend. Yeah, he's just a friend who's always making deposits into your heart because he's always paying compliments. He's always being there for you when your husband can't be there for you. He's ready to pick you up. He's ready to pick up your kids from school. He's ready to do all these amazing things for you. You're not a rock. It's a matter of time before all the things that he's doing for you will get to you. And before you know it, you are reciprocating the feelings and you're feeling things that you really have no business feeling. So erect boundaries and don't be prideful. When we say don't be prideful, we just mean don't think that you're incapable of it. Be guarded. Guard yourself. Very important. Number 3 cause of extramarital affairs is living in a backslidden state. Now, when I say this, I'm talking about people of the faith. If you're a child of God, the Bible speaks about how he teaches us how to say no to ungodliness. I don't think anyone can just be righteous on their own and do the right thing. But that's just me. I honestly think it helps to be leaning on a higher power, to get things right. I think we all get married with good intentions. We never want to be the unfaithful one. We don't want to break anyone's heart. But then, as Swazis would say, just because life is continuing and stuff is happening, you might find yourself making poor choices if you don't choose to pursue a relationship with God that empowers you, that calls you to a standard that is higher than what you are prone to naturally as a person. It's very, very important. The most important cause of extramarital affairs is falling out of love. No one has an affair when they're in love. It's not possible because you're so obsessed with this one person. I got married young. I've been married 27 years, so I was barely a teenager when I got married. And I was at varsity, and I was told that varsity would be difficult because there are so many guys. I've got married too young. There'll be too much temptation. But I breezed through varsity. I barely noticed that there were guys there. Why? I was too obsessed with my husband. I had no time. I couldn't give them the time of day. I didn't notice them because we were at a stage in our lives where the obsession was my husband. His obsession was me. So we were fortified because of how passionately we love each other. Of course, as you continue to journey, and especially if you don't know how to do the things that I just shared with you about, then you find yourself exposed. And in our next episode, I'll be delving more into that, into finding yourself in compromising positions and what you need to do to navigate that sort of situation and what you can do to come out of it on top. Sometimes you can even come out of it stronger. I will talk about things like that. But for now, I encourage everyone who has listened to this show to please, please, please be vigilant and watchful and make sure that they make choices that will help fortify and affair-proof their marriage. Until next time, bye.